Sometimes life has a way of hiding your brilliance from the very people you think need to see it. You give your heart, your energy, your soul to those around you, hoping they'll understand who you are and what you bring. But instead, you feel unseen. You feel like your worth is invisible to the ones you care about the most. Let me tell you something. That isn't by accident. That is not a mistake. There is a reason why some people can't see your value, why they can't appreciate the treasure that you are. It's because they aren't meant to. You see, when God crafted you, He didn't just make you for anyone. He made you for something special, for people who could recognize your light and honor it. If someone can't see your worth, don't take it as a reflection of you. Instead, understand that it's divine protection. God is keeping your greatness hidden from those who would misuse it, who would take your gift and diminish it, who might try to break what they don't understand. Imagine a diamond buried deep within the earth. It's not just lying on the surface for anyone to stumble upon. It's hidden, covered, protected until the right time, until the right hands come to unearth it. You, my dear, are that diamond. When you feel overlooked, when you feel invisible, I want you to remember this. It's not because you lack anything. No, it's because not everyone deserves to witness what you carry. Not everyone is ready for the power you hold. Sometimes God is shielding you because He's still preparing you for what's next. Your worth is not determined by who sees it, but by the divine purpose placed within you. Too often we seek validation from the world around us, from those we love and from those we respect. We hope that our efforts, our talents, our hearts will be recognized and appreciated by the people who matter most to us. But what happens when they don't? What happens when the recognition never comes and we are left feeling unseen, unnoticed, unappreciated? It's in those moments that we must remember that our worth is not dependent on the eyes of others. The true measure of who we are, what we bring to this world, and the impact we have isn't defined by anyone else's ability to recognize it. It's defined by the purpose that was planted within us from the very beginning of time. The world has a way of making us feel like we are only as valuable as the accolades we receive or the praise we get from others. It tells us that we must constantly prove ourselves, perform, and show our worth through what we achieve or what others think of us. It's as if our value is tied to external markers, a job title, a social status, the approval of those around us. But this is a false narrative. It's an illusion that keeps us trapped in a cycle of seeking validation that will never truly satisfy. What we must realize is that the core of our worth isn't something that can be measured or validated by the outside world. When we begin to look within, we see that our true worth is intrinsic. It's built into the very fabric of who we are. It is woven into our soul by the Creator who designed us with intention and purpose. Your worth does not come from what others say about you or how much recognition you receive. It's not something that can be given or taken away by another person's opinion. It is something that is deeply rooted in your existence, something that cannot be altered by external circumstances. The moment we let go of the need for others to see and validate our worth, we begin to unlock a deeper sense of who we really are. But this can be a difficult concept to embrace, especially when the world around us is so quick to judge and measure worth based on tangible outcomes. We are often taught from a young age to seek approval, to chase after praise, to prove that we are worthy of love, respect, and recognition. These lessons shape how we view ourselves and how we seek validation, and when we don't receive it in the ways we expect, it can cause us to doubt our own value. We might begin to question if we are enough, if we are deserving of success or happiness, or if we'll ever be seen for the incredible person we truly are. But I want to remind you of something. Just because someone doesn't see your worth doesn't mean it's not there. In fact, your worth might be hidden for a reason. Sometimes the people who fail to recognize your value are not the ones meant to appreciate it. And that's okay. It's not about them, it's about you. It's about recognizing that your worth isn't contingent upon their validation. It's about embracing the truth that you are already enough. It's also important to remember that some of the most powerful people in this world were once overlooked or underestimated. They didn't let the fact that others didn't see their potential hold them back. Instead, they trusted in their own worth, they kept moving forward, and they allowed their actions, their persistence, and their inner light to speak for them. The world may not always recognize your worth in the moment, but that doesn't mean it isn't there. Your value is not tied to someone else's ability to see it. Your value is tied to the unique purpose that only you can fulfill. What if, instead of seeking validation from the outside world, you chose to validate yourself? What if, instead of waiting for someone else to see your worth, you simply acknowledged it within yourself? What would happen if you started to walk with the understanding that your value is constant, regardless of who notices it or how they perceive it? This shift in mindset can transform your life. It can free you from the need for external approval and allow you to step into your power with confidence and grace. We need to stop living for the applause of others. It's exhausting, it's draining, and it's never enough. The truth is, no one can truly give you the validation you need except for yourself. When you recognize your own worth and honor it, you become unstoppable. You begin to make decisions based on what is best for you, not on what others think you should do or how they expect you to show up. You take ownership of your life and your journey, knowing that you are worthy of every blessing, every success, and every opportunity that comes your way. And in those moments when you feel invisible, when it feels like no one sees you or appreciates what you bring to the table, remember that the right people will come. The right people will see you. They will recognize your worth not because of something you've done to impress them, but because they are in tune with who you really are. They will see the light within you, the authenticity, the love, and the power that you carry. And when they see it, they will honor it. But even if that moment hasn't come yet, know that your worth remains unchanged. It's not in their hands to decide. So let go of the need for external validation. Let go of the idea that you need someone else to see your worth in order to believe in it yourself. Embrace the truth that your value is not determined by who notices it, but by the divine purpose that has been woven into your being. And as you move forward in life, walk with the confidence that you are worthy, you are enough, and you have everything you need within you to make an impact. When you know this, when you truly believe this, you become an unstoppable force in this world. Your worth will not be measured by the eyes of others, but by the incredible power that lies within you. Some people can't recognize your value because they aren't meant to be part of your journey. It's a hard truth to accept, especially when you've poured your heart and soul into relationships, projects, and experiences, hoping that the people around you will see you, acknowledge you, and value what you bring. But what happens when they don't? What happens when you give your best, show up with everything you have, and yet the recognition, the respect, and the appreciation don't come? In those moments, it can feel like the world is telling you that your worth doesn't matter. It's easy to start questioning yourself, to wonder if something is wrong with you, or if you are somehow falling short. But here's the truth: just because someone can't see your value doesn't mean that value isn't there. It doesn't mean that you are not worthy of love, success, or respect. It simply means that they are not the right people to recognize it. There is a reason why some people can't see what you bring to the table, why they overlook you, or why they fail to understand the full depth of who you are. It's not a reflection of your worth, it's a reflection of where they are in their own lives and what they are capable of seeing. We all go through life meeting people who may or may not appreciate us for the entirety of who we are. Some people will see only the surface, and others will look deep into your soul and recognize the treasure within. But not everyone has the capacity to truly understand your essence. Not everyone is meant to walk with you on this journey. Not everyone is capable of seeing what makes you special. The beauty of this realization is that it frees you from the need for everyone to understand your worth. The people who are meant to value you will do so without effort. They will recognize your light, your truth, and your potential without you having to prove anything. If someone doesn't see your worth, it's important to understand that it's not personal. It's not about you being unworthy or insufficient. It's about the simple fact that not everyone is capable of recognizing the gifts you bring. Not everyone is able to see your value because they are limited by their own perspectives, their own experiences, and their own biases. This is where the divine protection comes into play. If someone cannot see your worth, it's often because they are not in a position to appreciate it. They may not be in a place where they can understand you fully, and that is not a reflection of who you are, but of where they are. There's another layer to this. Sometimes people who can't see your worth are people who are not meant to stay in your life for long. They may come into your life for a season, teaching you valuable lessons along the way, but they are not meant to stay. It's like trying to force a door open that's locked. You can push, pull, and struggle, but the door won't budge until it's the right time or the right person comes along with the key. And sometimes the people who fail to recognize your worth are those who are meant to open the door, or at the very least help you find the right path toward those who will see you for all that you are. It's important to remember that this isn't about them, it's about you. It's about recognizing that the value you bring to the world doesn't change based on the recognition of others. Your worth is not diminished by anyone's inability to see it. In fact, the more you start to value yourself, the more you will understand that you are not here to prove your worth to anyone. You are here to live out your purpose, to embrace who you are, and to trust that the right people will see your worth in their own time. When you let go of the need for everyone to see your value, you begin to free yourself from the weight of constant validation. It's exhausting to live for the approval of others, to constantly chase after recognition that may never come. The truth is, when you live for others to recognize your worth, you are giving them power over your happiness, your confidence, and your sense of self. And that's not how it's meant to be. You must realize that your worth comes from within. It comes from the truth of who you are, not from how others perceive you. When you stop seeking validation from the outside world, you begin to create a life that is rooted in your own understanding of yourself. You build a foundation that is strong and unshakable because it is based on your intrinsic worth, not on external opinions. You start making choices based on your own values, not based on what others think is best for you. You begin to surround yourself with people who understand your value without you having to explain it. You don't need to convince anyone of your worth when you already know it yourself. And while it may be difficult to accept, sometimes the reason others can't see your worth is that they are not yet ready for it. They may not be in the place where they can appreciate or recognize the beauty, strength, and power that you possess. They may not yet understand what it means to be in the presence of someone as special as you. But that's okay. Their inability to see your worth doesn't take away from it. It doesn't diminish what you bring to the table. It simply means that they are not yet aligned with the energy that you bring. It's also important to remember that there are times when people don't see your worth because they are dealing with their own struggles, insecurities, or limitations. It's not about you, it's about their own journey. They may be so focused on their own issues that they are unable to recognize the gifts and beauty in others. In those moments, it's essential not to internalize their blindness. Their inability to see your worth is more a reflection of their own struggles than a reflection of who you are. So when you find yourself in a situation where others can't see your worth, I encourage you to step back and remind yourself of this truth. It's not about you, it's about them. You are valuable regardless of whether they see it. You are worthy even if they don't recognize it. And as you move forward, keep doing the work, keep walking in your truth, and trust that the right people will show up. They will see your worth, they will see your worth. They will understand what you bring to the table. And they will appreciate you for exactly who you are. Until then, never forget that your worth was never dependent on their recognition. It's always been there, shining brightly within you. Being overlooked is often God's way of protecting your gifts and preparing you for greater. It's easy to fall into the trap of thinking that being seen, acknowledged, and validated by others is the most important part of your journey. We live in a world where visibility is often equated with success, where the louder you are, the more attention you receive, and where recognition from others is seen as the ultimate affirmation of your worth. But what happens when you are overlooked? What happens when you give your best, you show up fully, and yet no one notices? It's in these moments that we need to shift our perspective and understand that sometimes being unseen is a divine protection. We all want to be acknowledged for our efforts, to be recognized for our hard work, and to be valued for the contributions we make. There's nothing wrong with seeking validation, especially when we've poured our hearts and energy into something meaningful. However, there are moments in life when we find ourselves invisible to those around us, and it can be frustrating, even disheartening. We question ourselves, wonder if we are doing something wrong, or ask why we are not being seen in the way we believe we should be. But the truth is, in those moments of being overlooked, we are being protected. We are being shielded from people who are not ready for the fullness of what we carry. God, in His wisdom, often allows us to go through seasons where we are hidden, where our value is not immediately recognized, because He knows that there is a purpose to this period of invisibility. It is not a punishment, it is preparation. When we are overlooked, it allows us time to grow, to refine our craft, and to build a strong foundation that will support the greatness that is ahead of us. Just like a seed is buried deep in the ground before it sprouts into something beautiful, sometimes we need to be hidden in order to fully develop. There's a process that happens when we are unseen. It's a time for growth and nurturing, and it's necessary for the emergence of the person we are meant to be. Being overlooked is also a form of protection from people who may not be ready to appreciate what we bring to the table. Not everyone is capable of understanding our potential, and not everyone is prepared to handle the power, the vision, and the gifts we carry. Sometimes the people who don't see our value are not the right people to be around us. They might not have the capacity to handle what we have to offer, or they might try to diminish our light because they are not secure in their own. If we were to be fully exposed to these individuals too early, we might be met with criticism, rejection, or misunderstandings. It's not because we are less than, but because they are not yet equipped to recognize and honor our worth. In these times of invisibility, God shields us from harm. He knows that some people aren't ready for the best version of ourselves, and He protects us by keeping us out of situations where we might be taken advantage of, dismissed, or undervalued. It is in these quiet, seemingly unnoticed moments that we are being prepared for something greater, something more aligned with who we are and where we are meant to go. Consider the story of the great leaders, visionaries, and creators who at one time or another were overlooked by the world. They worked in the shadows, honing their craft, developing their skills, and building a foundation for the greatness they were destined to achieve. These individuals were often dismissed, ignored, or underestimated by the people around them, but that didn't mean they weren't valuable. It didn't mean that their worth was any less. It simply meant that they had not yet stepped into their season of recognition. And when that season came, it wasn't because they had suddenly changed or become something else. It was because they were ready. The time and obscurity was necessary to prepare them for the magnitude of what was to come. When we are overlooked, we need to remember that we are still valuable and our work is still significant, even if no one is acknowledging it at the moment. We are still making an impact, even if it's not being recognized in the way we expect. The time we spend in the background working quietly is not wasted. It's a time for us to develop resilience, to deepen our understanding of our purpose, and to strengthen our ability to handle what's ahead. Just as a tree grows tall and strong before it bears fruit, we must sometimes grow in private before we are ready to shine in public. God knows what we need, and He understands the timing of our lives better than we do. We may not always understand why we are being overlooked or why others fail to see our value, but we must trust that God's plan is always for our good. The moment of being hidden is not the end of our journey, it is the beginning of the next phase. When the right time comes, when the world is ready, we will be revealed. We will step into the fullness of who we are meant to be, and the people who were once blind to our gifts will finally see us for who we are. In the meantime, we must continue doing the work, continuing to grow and develop. Even if we are not being seen or celebrated by others, our worth does not decrease in the absence of recognition. Our value is not contingent on others seeing it. It is constant, unwavering, and rooted in our divine purpose. So when we are overlooked, we must remember that God is preparing us for a time when we will be able to fully step into our purpose. The world will see us at the right moment, and when that happens, it will be because we have been prepared for the weight of that visibility. So if you are in a season where you feel unseen, where your efforts feel unnoticed, where the recognition you desire doesn't seem to come, take heart. Know that being overlooked is not a reflection of your value. It's a reflection of the timing of your journey. God is protecting you. He is preparing you for something bigger, something greater. Keep moving forward in faith. Keep doing the work, and keep trusting that the right time will come when your gifts will no longer be hidden. Until then, understand that your value is already established and the best is yet to come. Sometimes the world will try to make you feel less than because it doesn't understand the depth of your worth. People will look at you through their own lens, shaped by their own experiences, and they will project their own limitations onto you. When they do not see the full scope of your potential, when they fail to recognize your value, it's easy to feel as if something is wrong with you. It's easy to internalize their opinions and start questioning your worth. But the reality is, the world often doesn't understand the greatness within you because it has not yet learned to see it. And that's okay. You are not here to be understood by everyone. You are here to be true to yourself, to live out the purpose that has been uniquely placed inside you, and to shine regardless of whether or not others recognize your light. The truth is, the world will often judge you based on surface level things. It will measure your worth by what you have, how you look, where you've been, or who you know. People will size you up, but they will not see you for who you truly are. They won't see the struggles you've overcome, the resilience you've developed, or the dreams you carry. They won't see the late nights, the sacrifices, and the hard work you've put in to get to where you are. They won't see the strength it took to rise from setbacks, the courage to continue when everything in you wanted to give up. They won't see the things that make you truly special. And when they can't see that, it's easy for them to diminish your worth or overlook the unique gifts you bring into the world. But here's the important part: their inability to see you for who you truly are doesn't change the fact that you are valuable. It doesn't change your greatness. It doesn't make you any less worthy of success, love, or fulfillment. The truth of who you are is not defined by the opinions of others. Your worth is not measured by how much others see in you, but by the fact that you are here with a purpose, a unique mission that only you can fulfill. The people who do not see you for who you are not the ones you need to focus on. Their inability to recognize your value is not a reflection of your worth, but a reflection of their own understanding of the world. They are looking at you through a narrow perspective, and because they cannot see the full picture, they may overlook your true potential. In these moments of being unseen, it is important to remind yourself that you are not here to be understood by everyone. Your value is not dependent on others' recognition. Your worth is inherent in who you are, not in what others think of you. The people who are meant to see you will see you will see you. The people who are meant to appreciate your worth will do so without you having to explain yourself. The people who are ready for the fullness of who you are will recognize your light, your gifts, and your potential. And when they do, you won't have to prove anything to them. They will see you for who you are, not for what they want you to be. God has placed something special inside of you, something that cannot be duplicated by anyone else. Your value is unique, and there is no one else in the world who can do what you do in the way that you do it. This is why it's so important not to get caught up in the opinions of others. When you let other people define your worth, you are giving them the power to dictate your happiness, your confidence, and your sense of self. You are handing them control over your sense of value. But when you recognize that your worth is intrinsic, when you understand that it's not based on others' perceptions of you, you begin to take back that control. You start living for yourself, for your own purpose, and not for the approval of others. At times, you may feel like you're doing everything you can to prove yourself, to show others your worth, and to get the recognition you deserve. But here's a profound truth: you don't need to prove anything to anyone. You don't need to earn your worth. It is already there, embedded in your soul. What you are doing is showing up for yourself, being true to who you are, and living out your purpose with confidence. That is the most powerful thing you can do. When you focus on your own growth, on living in alignment with your values, and on pursuing your dreams with passion, you stop caring about whether or not others see your worth. You become so rooted in your own understanding of yourself that their opinions no longer have the power to affect you. It's also important to remember that not everyone is capable of recognizing your worth at the right time. People often judge based on where they are in their own lives. They may not be in a position to appreciate your value because they are focused on their own struggles, insecurities, or limitations. And that's not your responsibility. It's not your job to make others see you. It's your job to show up as your true self, to walk in your purpose, and to trust that the right people will recognize your worth. The world's inability to see you is not a reflection of your worth. It is simply a reflection of their current understanding. And in the grand scheme of things, their opinion is irrelevant. What matters is what you believe about yourself. What matters is that you know deep down that you are worthy, that you are capable, and that you have something special to offer. As you continue on your journey, remember that the people who will see you for who you truly are will come into your life at the right time. They will see your worth because they are aligned with your energy, your purpose, and your vision. And when they do, it won't be because you worked harder to earn their recognition. It will be because you have consistently shown up as your authentic self. There will always be people who fail to see your worth, who overlook you or underestimate you. But do not let that deter you. Do not let it make you question who you are or what you bring to the table. Their inability to see you does not change the truth of your value. You are worthy simply because you exist, simply because you were created with purpose and intention. The world will catch up eventually. Until then, trust that you are exactly where you need to be and that the right people will see you when the time is right. Keep showing up, keep living in alignment with your purpose, and know that your worth is not determined by anyone's perception. Your worth is something that can never be taken away, and it is always yours to claim.